Hello, I'm Alabama Attorney General Steve Marshall. On September 9th, President Biden announced a new strategy for fighting the coronavirus pandemic. The strategy he announced and the rhetoric he used to announce it was more befitting of a tyrant than a president. From start to finish, the president condemned a quarter of the nation's citizens. He sought to stoke hatred against millions of our fellow Americans, saying, quote, "I understand your anger toward the unvaccinated." Declaring that his patience with the unvaccinated was over and that he was done accommodating freedom and personal choice, President Biden unveiled his new strategy, authoritarianism. He is no longer trying to persuade. He has decided to order the federal government to force over 100 million public and private sector employees, 2/3 of the entire United States workforce, to be vaccinated. Mussolini would blush. President Biden's vaccine mandates are contemptible infringements on individual liberty, federalism, and the separation of powers. For the sake of our nation and our people, we must and we will fight back. Here's how I'm doing it. The federal contractor mandate requires all federal contractors to force their employees to be, quote, fully vaccinated, a definition subject to continual revision by early December or else fire them. This mandate is unlawful for a host of reasons that we'll explain in court. But I want to share with you an especially alarming aspect of this mandate that goes beyond legal technicalities. The scope of Biden's mandate is flagrantly unconstitutional. For example, an employee of a federal contractor working alone by himself at home must get the shot, even though he could not possibly infect or be infected by his coworkers. And if an employee works in an office and so much as shares a parking garage with a non-contracted employee, then the non-contracted employee, who would normally not be subject to the mandate, would be subject to the mandate. There are no limits to what Biden thinks he can do. If he has the authority to force shots on these employees, ostensibly to keep them healthy and working, then by his logic, he would have the authority to require the contracted employee to certify not only these had the shot, but that his wife and kids have too. After all, an employee is far more likely to catch a cold at the dinner table than an office parking lot. The mainstream media wants to tell you that this is just a slippery slope, but we're well on our way down it. Remember, just 3 months ago, Biden was assuring you that mandating vaccines is, quote, not the role of the federal government. Biden's disastrous withdrawal from Afghanistan was just 1 month later. He knew he needed to change the conversation. And so on September 9th, Biden sought to turn the country's attention and righteous anger from his administration to those who have not been fully vaccinated. Who knows what will come next? That is why I filed suit against President Biden to block the federal contractor mandate. The goal was to resolve this lawsuit before the federally dictated deadline, to the end of ensuring the mandate is never enforced against anybody in any state, whether they work in Alabama or anywhere else in the United States. The private employer mandate will require that all employers with more than 100 employees to force their employees to be fully vaccinated or be continually masked and tested as a condition of their employment. This mandate was drafted as an emergency rule by the Occupational Safety and Health Administration, or as most people know it, OSHA, based upon a statute that no reasonable person could construe as allowing President Biden to require private employers to force their employees to comply with his edict. The OSHA rule was sent to the White House for final approval 3 weeks ago. If the private employer mandate was so critical to the health and well-being of employees, why would President Biden take so long to approve it? One reason is obvious. The Biden administration has been very busy meeting with scores of powerful and deep-pocketed lobbyists and special interest groups about the mandate. Press reports suggest that these meetings have almost universally been about non-health and safety-related issues, resulting in changes to the mandate, such as requiring that unvaccinated employees, rather than their employers, foot the bill for all mandated masks and testing, a change rooted not in the science, but in the profit motive. As soon as the private employer mandate goes into effect, I will file suit against President Biden to block it. As with my challenge to the federal contractor mandate, the goal will be to ensure the mandate is never able to be enforced against anybody in any state, whether they work or do business in Alabama or anywhere else in the United States. Since I was sworn in as your Attorney General, I have pledged to defend the sovereignty of the state of Alabama. I have done it, and I will continue to do it in the future.